Hello everybody, we're going to talk about graphing quadratics. So let's just look at a simple example to start. So we have this quadratic right here, y equals x squared plus 2x plus 1. The way I want to teach this is, let's just look at the x's. Let's find some interesting x values and plug those in. So here, let's just factor out an x from those two terms. So we have x times x plus 2 plus 1. So an interesting x value would be 0, because then that makes this whole thing 0 and I have 1. So when x is 0, my y value is 1. That's one thing. And then also another interesting x value is when this is 0. So negative 2 would make this 0. So negative 2 is right there. And when this is 0, I get y equals 1. And then we know that the shape of these curves is always going to be a U shape, so it could be a U going up or a U going down. So the way you can think about that is, what if the x value gets really big? So 1,000,000 times a million and 2 plus 1 is going to be really, really big, right? So it's going to be a U going up. So another thing I want to ask is, does it go like that, or it doesn't actually come all the way down the axis? It could come all the way down, or it could actually go through, right? So how does my U shape look? Well, halfway between will be my line of symmetry. Halfway between 0 and negative 2 would be negative 1, right? So at the x value of negative 1, I can find out where my vertex is. That's the furthest point that the parabola reaches. So if I plug in the value of negative 1 into my equation, so negative 1 times negative 1 plus 2 plus 1, so negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1, so this is all positive 1. Negative 1 times positive 1 would be negative 1 plus 1, so I get a y value of 0. So that would be right on the axis. So this is the curve that it actually is. As it comes down, just touches and goes back up. Okay, so let's do one more. So we'll say y equals, I don't know, 2x squared plus 4x, I don't know, minus 3. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Let's find some interesting x values. I could actually factor a 2x out of there, so 2x and then x plus 2, right? Now interesting x values would be 0 and negative 2. So 0 and negative 2 are interesting x values that would make these 0, right? So when x is 0, my y value is negative 3. And when x is negative 2, my y value is also negative 3. So does it go up or down? So let's look at, again, my center line is going to be at negative 1, so let's go ahead and plug that in and see where it is. So 2 times negative 1, negative 1 plus 2, so this is positive 1 times negative 2, so I get a negative 5. So it's down here. So my U-shaped curve looks just like that. Okay. Okay, let's go to a little bit deeper level here. So now we can factor out, how about we factor out a negative x, and then it would be x minus 3 minus 7. Okay, so interesting x values are 0 and negative 3. Oh no, positive 3 to make that 0. So 1, 2, 3, and 0 would be negative 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 0 would make a negative 7, and negative 3 or positive 3 would make a negative 7. Alright, now halfway between them would be 3 halves, right? 3 halves. So I can plug that value in. Let's see, 3 halves negative times 3 halves minus 3 minus 7. So 3 is the same as 6 halves. So I'm going to change that. And this would be negative 3 halves times negative 3 halves minus 7. And then negative times negative is a positive. So this would be 9 fourths minus 7. And then 7, I'm going to replace that with 28 fourths. So 28 minus 9 would be 17. No, 19. So, and it would be positive, and this is more negative, so it would be a negative 19 fourths, which 4 goes into 19 4 times with a 4 remainder, so it's negative 4 and 4, oops, with a, goes into 4 5 times, 4 times with a 3 remainder. Okay, my arithmetic is really bad, if you haven't already noticed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's 4 3/4, so it's not quite down to 5, and that would be my vertex right there. So my U-shaped curve looks something like this.